may be an artist and don't even know it. That's what happened to Pat when she joined my watercolor class 3 years ago at an assisted living. I handed her a piece of paper and some magic marker pens and a photograph of a vase with some flowers in it. Within 2 classes, this is what she produced. I told her, "Pat, you're an artist." And she looked at me like I had 3 heads. And I said, "You keep coming to class, and I'm going to prove it to you." When COVID hit, and I could no longer come to the assisted living, she just had her children buy her art supplies, and she settled down in her apartment for the long haul, and she just painted every day. The other day, when I came to visit, she asked me to come up and take a look at her apartment. And as I walked in, I realized what she had been doing all this time for the last 3 years. Pat had been busy painting all during COVID, and even the times when I was not there for the watercolor class. She had been not only painting, but then scotch taping all of her artwork to all the walls in her living room. Here we have Pat's wall of birds. Different birds and different seasons. Let's look at some of the pictures individually. This is something that she saw in a magazine. She really liked the shape, but there was only one bird. So she put some more birds in. Then I asked her about the evergreen branches, and she said they're there because the birds needed something to sit on. That was logical. This is a watercolor. And at first you might think it's very simple, but it's really not at all. It's quite complicated. Look on the bottom left-hand side of the picture, and the clump of snow is white, just a little bit of shading. Look in the middle of the painting, right under the fence, at the color of the snow. That grayness is reflecting the grayness in the sky that you see above. And she's got blues and grays and browns in that sky. She's telling you it's a cold, dreary day. Pat mentioned to me the other day that she loves Cardinals. I do too. They come to my side door and ask for peanuts. On the left, that cardinal is actually smiling at you. The one in the middle has a seed in its mouth, and the one on the right is looking in the opposite direction with some grass in its mouth. What I like about Pat's art is that it tells a story and doesn't just kind of sit there as a picture. Don't you wonder, what is that cardinal on the right-hand side looking at? What distracted him? This one was copied from a calendar, so we can't give her credit for the design. But look how well she observed and copied the shadows on the birch pole and the shadows on the snow on top of the birdhouse. Think about it. She never bothered to draw until she was in her early 80s, when someone gave her the supplies and just a few lessons. She copied the parrots, but she said it was missing the flowers and the leaves around the birds, so she added them along with the little cricket in the bottom right-hand corner. I'd like to point out that she took a lot of time distinguishing the smooth feathers from the rough feathers. That was hard to do. She did a really great job because this picture is filled with movement and combinations of colors. This watercolor is definitely one of my favorites. I love the softness of the color and the strength of the lines, the red on the roof, the colors of the stones that are soft variations of the colors on the different roofs and the sides of the building. The fact that she's got round rocks and flat slabs and then strong boulders up above. There are so many variations, and I can't believe that someone who has never drawn before can create such a charmingly modern painting when she's never done this before. I love this wall. Look at that old car and the windmill sitting in the background. She told me that windmill was the kind of windmill she had on the farm where she grew up. And look to the right, look at the cat. She didn't draw a full cat, did she? She drew just enough to know that it was looking at you. And what is that in the background? Probably a window. She didn't put anything in the window. She kept it very simple. Because of that, you really get to look at the cat. You and the cat are sharing a view of each other and nothing more. And look at the bird sitting on the vase on the left-hand side. It's a beautiful bird. The reflection is lovely. But what's really charming is the way she drew all the little details of the probably stained glass flowers at the bottom of the vase. I think it would have been fun to see a little color just there. It's fun to have a little pop of color when there's black and white, isn't there? Look to the right. Look at the puffin. Nowhere else is there color, but all of a sudden she's decided to scotch tape that puffin to the right-hand wall. Why did she do that? What was she thinking? I think it was a great idea. And best of all is that dog. That dog looks a lot like my dog, Ginger. And we know that that dog was bringing a leash over to somebody to ask them to take the dog out for a walk, just like my dog would do. Did you have a dog like that too? Isn't that a lovely picture? I can't wait to see her photographs, her old photographs, and see how many of them she decided to draw. I asked Pat about the ballerina, and this is what she told me.
The girl was a friend of mine. From 1st to 8th grade, she was my very best friend. And you have to know I lived on a farm area, so we went to a country school. Her mother decided that she should take ballet lessons because she needed to be a little more feminine. And when I would stay at her house, of course, we'd get up, eat breakfast, and then we'd go to ballet lessons. And I would sit on the sidelines and watch her.
Why did you sit on the sidelines?
They had benches along one side.
Why didn't you take the ballet lessons?
I have to tell you, the money wasn't there for me to take ballet lessons.
Here's an explanation about why Pat put the flying ducks in the picture above.
This is my imagination.
Okay.
But then when I found this picture in another article or something, I saw that little boy looking out the window at the birds flying. It made me think of this. So I just put him by that.
Boy, her brain is firing with all burners.
But you know, that's the teacher too.
What do you mean?
When you would try to introduce something new in my classroom, the easiest way to do it was to make a story or to give something on the board that would give people, stimulate their imagination, is what I call it.
So you were a teacher?
Yes.
What did you teach?
English, and then I was also a guidance counselor.
Okay.
6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
And you never taught art. What a shame.
Huh?
You never taught art.
It never occurred to me. Never occurred to me.
Pat does a lot of things intentionally. When you look at the color combinations in both pictures, the colors are the same. In both cases, it's 2 and 2, and in both cases, their backs are to you. On the left side, there's so much detail in the wall and the design in the kimonos and even the underside of the umbrella. That's very hard to do. If you grew up with the dog, then the charm is on the right-hand side, where the little girl is hugging her dog and looking outside at the snow. Pat shared with me that there were dogs when she grew up on the farm. There were also a lot of wild birds and animals that were raised in her home. I heard the story about the baby raccoons that her father brought home and her mother raised in the house until one day she caught one of them swinging on her favorite lace tablecloth. From then on, they lived outside the house, but never far away.
Anyway, I think she took the picture because it was kind of different. You know, he brought these little critters. This one wasn't even totally hatched.
But how did your mother took the photograph of the
That's
animals?
what I think.
And how did the animal come into your life? Start from the beginning.
Well, my father got him out of the field and brought him to my mom.
They were alive.
And said, we can't leave them in the field because they'll die. So you gotta feed them and make sure that they live. And my mother didn't think anything of that. That was just something she would do. And then I think she took the picture because she thought it was cute. But this part I added.
You added the flowers.
Yeah.
And she took a picture of the 2 ducks, I guess, right? They're ducks.
They're ducks. They're baby ducks, yes.
Was there a pond? Was there a pond there that they were swimming in?
No.
Oh. You lived on a farm.
They were in a field. They found them in a field. And they think the mother died somehow. At least my father thought that. So he brought them to my mother to, here, you know, it's like, it's broken, but I don't want it to be broken, so fix it.
Tell me your name.
Huh?
What's your name?
Pat Reynolds.
Pat Reynolds from where?
Rockford, Illinois. On a farm outside of Rockford, Illinois.
Would you tell me how old you are?
I'm 84.
And where did you learn to paint?
From Bonnie.
Pat Reynolds, at 84, lives in her own apartment surrounded by very special art. I'll bet after meeting her, you think so too.